6, Miss Stewart here. Hope you're all doing really well. In the last chapter of The House with Chicken Legs, we found out that Marinka went to visit her friend, or what she thought was her friend, and the girls turned out to be quite mean. And then Marinka comes back at the end of the chapter and realises that the two girls have also seen the house. So this chapter is called The Expanding Universe. The Expanding Universe. I stare at the mess, a knife twisting in my stomach, and my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. Bones from the fence are spewed across the ground, covered in dust and mud. The porch spindles are cracked and broken, the foundations bent at an odd angle. The house has been struggling to get free, and worst of all, the wire has sliced down the chicken legs, splitting and splintering the wood. Hot tears run down my face as I scramble around trying to untangle the wire. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I hear myself sob as I attempt to pull the wire away from the toes and ankle. But it's sunk in too deep, and a wide gash on one side of the ankle is filled with blood-red sap. I give up and rummage through the skeleton store until I find the wire cutters. It takes a while, but eventually I'm surrounded by cut lengths of wire and the house is free. I inspect the damage, unsure what to do. I wonder if the house will heal itself in the same way it has grown seats, play forts and secret doors for me in the past, or will it need help to heal? Guilt tightens in my throat. Baba believed I would care for the house, but look what I have done. The house has never been so hurt. Jack lands on my shoulder, his wing hitting my ear and his claws digging into my dress. Oh, Jack! I reach up to kiss him and stroke his neck. I'm so glad you're here. I'm sorry about before. He pushes something dry and scratchy into my ear, and I take it. A huge crushed beetle. Thank you, I smile, brushing fresh tears from my face. I try to slip the beetle into my pocket, but my new dress doesn't have any. Suddenly I miss my apron, my old comfy dress, and Baba's headscarf. Come on! I tap my arm and Jack staggers clumsily down to my elbow. Let's get the house fixed up. I pour buckets of water over the wounds and wrap torn bed sheets around the two areas that are weeping sap, an ankle on one leg and a knee on the other. The house is tense and unmoving, although at one point it flinches away from my touch, knocking me onto my bottom, and I'm sure that just at the moment I fail, it shakes with laughter before stifling it. The worry knotted in my belly loosens slightly with the thought that the house might be all right. When I'm content the wounds are clean and dressed, I clear the cut wire and neatly stack the bones back into the skeleton store. I don't have time to rebuild the fence as I must visit the old Yaga tonight, but I promise myself I'll do it when I get back. I build a fire and warm some water for Benji's milk. He jumps and skids around the floor until he's eaten, then curls up on the floor cushion at the foot of Baba's chair and falls asleep. Jack stays on my shoulder. I pass him beakfuls of stewed meat from a tin and tell him everything has happened since he left. He listens quietly as I confess to tying up the house and visiting the old Yaga to try and get through the gate at her house. When I tell him about her house rolling upside down, I find myself laughing, even though it made me cross at the time, and Jack cackles into my ear in return. I try to explain about the girls in the riad, how it was fun playing in the pool and interesting listening to them talk, but also confusing because although they were mostly nice, they also said hurtful, cruel things. I tell Jack that Lamia thinks the old Yaga is a sinister witch and that Salma pushed a boy into the grounds in the market. Jack squawks and I remember how I pushed him to the floor and called him names and how I have hurt the house by tying it up. I sigh, trying to ignore the sickening feeling that I have been just as mean as the girls. Finally, I whisper to Jack about the ceremony of bonding and how it might give me a way to control the gate. Then I place him on Baba's chair with my horse blanket and ask him to watch the house and Benji while I visit the old Yaga. He nods and pushes his beak into my hand for a moment before turning around and burrowing under the blanket to fall asleep. My new green dress is torn and stained from scrambling on the floor, untangling the house and feeding Benji and Jack, but I don't care. I change into my old woolen dress and feel more like myself as I head out into the night. The house looks a little better already. The porch steps have realigned. Some of the broken spindles are knitted together, and gashes on the legs don't seem quite as bad as before. I check the dressing, and although the wounds under them are still quite deep, they aren't oozing sap anymore. But the crack near the skeleton store is worse than ever. A huge area of wood around it is dry and crumbling. I kneel down next to it and frown. Why can't you fix this? I whisper, pressing a hand over my heart in an effort to stop it from aching. The house doesn't respond, but I know the answer anyway. It's been 4 nights since Baba held a proper guiding, and the house needs someone to guide the dead. I swallow back a lump in my throat and tell myself that it doesn't have to be me. I will bring Baba home, I murmur under my breath, and I walk to the old Yaga's house, determined to find a way to open the gates and bring her back before the house or anything else gets worse. It's dark and the air is warm and sweet with smells from the recently closed food stalls. The skulls outside the old Yaga's house seem to welcome me with friendly smiles this evening, and the front door opens ahead of me, throwing a glowing rectangle of firelight into the open air. Milk soup with noodles, the old Yaga asks, putting 2 bowlfuls on the table before I even get the chance to answer. Thank you. I nod and sit opposite her. The house is immaculate, with no sign of any chaos caused by last night's topsy-turvy. Even the bookshelves are tidy, and I notice the old Yaga has brought a photograph album to the table. Did you find the picture of the ceremony of bonding? I ask, a shiver of anticipation running through me. The old Yaga nods, her eyes sparkling. She looks as excited as I feel as she opens the book and turns it towards me. This is the most recent ceremony of bonding there has been. It was for a young Yaga called Natalia. There is a large black and white photo in the centre page. Underneath it, written in faded ink, are the words Yaga Natalia and her house, ceremony of bonding. Scores of Yaga are stood in groups looking directly into the camera with serious expressions. At least 15 Yaga houses are visible in the background. Some poised regally, others balanced on one leg, and 2 in a blur like they jumped up at the wrong moment. The house in the middle is decorated with garlands of flowers and a young girl on its porch smiling. I've never seen so many Yaga in one place. I stare at the photo, breathless. Baba never told me you gathered together for ceremonies. A frown falls over my face as I wonder why Baba never took me to a gathering. Maybe I wouldn't have felt so lonely if I'd known more Yaga. Your Yaga probably didn't want you getting excited about something that doesn't happen very often. There can be decades, centuries even, between ceremonies. The old Yaga points at one of the faces in the photograph. There is your Baba. She slides her finger across another. That's me. Then she taps one of the blurry houses. And this one is your house, I think. I peer at the faces she points out and recognise both Baba and the old Yaga. Then I notice a date scribbled in the top corner of the photo. How can it nearly be 100 years old, I ask. It doesn't make any sense. Yaga can live for hundreds of years, thousands even, because our houses give us energy, a bit like they give the dead energy to help them on their journey. I look back down at the photograph and anger churns in my belly. Baba should have told me all this. Your Baba told you what you needed to know at the time. The old Yaga seems to read my mind. And she must have known you were clever enough to find out the rest for yourself when you needed to. How old is Baba? I ask. Another thought edging its way into my mind. The old Yaga shrugs. About 500 or so. So quite young for a Yaga then, I smile. If Baba is still young, it seems even more likely that I will be able to bring her back home. There are Yaga many years older than your Baba. The old Yaga nods slowly. But as you will know from the guiding, people of all ages pass through the gate. How long will I live? I ask without thinking, then realise what a strange question it is, because I'm not even alive. No one knows how long they're here for. I know that, I said impatiently, but if I live in a Yaga house like Yaga, could I be hundreds of years old too? The thought is both exciting and terrifying. Hundreds of years to fill with adventures, but hundreds of years of loneliness too. It's possible, the old Yaga tilts her head and smiles. It's not quite like other Yaga though. You're not quite like other Yaga though, are you? Because I'm dead. The words fall sharp in my throat. Well, yes, there is that. The old Yaga cackles. But more importantly, you weren't born to be Yaga. You have a choice. What choice do I have? I scoff. I can only exist in the house, so what else can there be? What would you like to be? I want to be a guardian, I lie, hot and flustered. There's no point talking about what I would like to be. Right now, all I want is to find out how to bond with the house and make it open, the gate, and bring Baba home. Then she can do the guiding and the house will start crumbling and everything will be all right. If there is a chance I can be something other than a guardian, I won't be able to figure that out until Baba is home. At a ceremony bonding, the old Yaga turns back to the photo but keeps looking at me out of the corner of her eyes. A Yaga promises to be the guardian of his or her house and its gate for all their time on earth. It's a celebration of a bond that can last hundreds, possibly thousands of years. Are you quite ready for that? Of course. My voice is much higher than it should be. I pick up my spoon and slowly take sips of the soup, trying my best to look calm. It's not like I would really be bonding with my house for hundreds of years, I tell myself. Once I bring Baba home, she will take over the guardian again. So does the gate open at the ceremony, I ask, looking at my soup. The old Yaga nods. Yes. Would you like to make your promise to the house and the gate, with the stars as your witness? There are some traditional words you can learn, or you can make up your own as long as you promise to protect the house and the gate and guide the dead. I'll make up my own, I say quickly, thinking that if I jump into the gate as soon as it opens, I won't have to say any words or make any promises I don't want to keep. You really want to do this? The old Yaga raises her eyebrows. Yes. I sit up straight and look into her eyes. As soon as possible. Tomorrow night. The old Yaga hesitates for a moment, then laughs loudly. Why not? I love a good party and it's been far too long since the last one. Where would you like your ceremony? What do you mean? Well, you can't have the ceremony here in the market. It's too close to the living. We'll have to go somewhere quiet. She looks up at the rafters and sighs. It's such a shame my house won't be able to come. It's always loved a party. Isn't there anything you can do to help it walk again? I'm afraid not. Old age can be cruel. But it's also a blessing given the opportunity to live so long. She blows a kiss over the hearth. You'll be fine without me for one night, won't you? The house rolls its floorboards and shuffles down into the ground. That's settled then. Now, your house can run, so where can we go? I don't know, not too far away. I bite my lip, remembering my house's injured legs. I hope they are healed by tomorrow night. I've always loved the steps, the old Yaga suggests with a wink. The old Yaga suggests with a wink. But we could go anywhere. You choose. I'll arrange the gathering. How? I ask, curious. I'll send some whispers through the gate. Oh, I spin around looking for where the gate might appear. You said your house is retired, so I assumed your gate would be closed for good. It's only a tiny window now, still big enough to hear the whispers though. I'll open it after you've left. The old Yaga looks at me rather pointedly, and I wonder for a moment if she suspects my plan to jump into the gate. The steps will be fine, I say, wanting to change the subject. Excellent, the old Yaga smiles. Warmth surges around my body and my brain buzzes with thoughts for tomorrow. A gathering of Yaga. I wonder how many I'll meet and my nerves tingle. Meeting people can bring good things, like meeting Benjamin gave me the courage to step over the fence and follow my dreams. But meeting people can be difficult too. When I met Nina, I made some selfish decisions that led to me to lose Baba. And meeting Salma and Lamia showed me that the living aren't always as nice as I thought they would be. I need to be careful, but tomorrow I'm not sneaking around meeting people I shouldn't. I am meeting Yaga. Always daydreaming about the world of the living. I've never even considered there is a world of Yaga to explore. The universe seems to expand around me. Tomorrow, as well as bringing Baba home, maybe I'll discover new things about Yaga and myself. Maybe my future has more possibilities than I have ever imagined. And year 5 and 6, that is the end of that chapter. Speak to you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.